All right, so this is the perfect situation for installing an instant hot water tank. We're going to be doing electric because it's simple, but the main reason I think this is perfect for this situation because this is above a garage. It's basically a home office slash mother-in-law suite. So it's something that you're not going to be using hot water all the time. And really having to provide room for a hot water tank can be a problem too. So we're going to install this electric one by Thermometer. It's a really streamlined installation. I'm going to show you step by step how to go about this, but pay attention when you purchase this, what your environment is, like what is the temperature of the water that you're trying to heat. It all depends on where you live. So if you're down in the southern hemisphere, it's not going to take as much to heat it up. So there's really 4 different models that they carry. It's a 6, 11, 18, and 27 kilowatt units. And I got an 18 kilowatt unit primarily because I'm up here in Pittsburgh, northern hemisphere, and our water is usually around 50 degrees that we're trying to warm up. Obviously in the winter, it's going to be a little bit colder, but you want to pay attention to what you're using. Like, what do you need this for? So I'm going to be putting a shower in. We're going to be using about 2 gallons per minute with the shower faucet that I'm installing. And with an 18 kilowatt unit heating up 50 degree water to 105 degrees, you'll get about 2.1 gallons per minute out of this unit. So if you have body sprays and all types of additional items, you're going to want to bump this up. But even still, instant electric hot water tanks are going to be really troublesome to get above 3.2 gallons per minute of hot water. That's about 105 degrees. So this 18 kilowatt unit would work. Just to give you a reference, the 11 kilowatt unit is 1.3 gallons at 105 degrees per minute. So that's not a lot. That would be like for a kitchen sink or something like that. And even then, it's going to probably struggle keeping you at, at 105 degrees. So the 18 does 2.1 gallons per minute, and then the 27 kilowatt does 3.2 gallons per minute of hot water at 105, and that's heating 47 to 50 degree water. So it really comes down to what you're trying to heat. But let's go through the steps. Pretty simple installation. We'll go through the whole thing here. But we first need to open it up and connect our supplies. The 18 kilowatt comes with 3/4 inch inlets. So just know that you're going to need to, if you have 1/2 inch plumbing, you're going to have to adapt down. But pretty simple, cold water, hot water coming out of it. So let's go ahead and take this unit apart here because we're going to be placing this in the location. Now, you're going to want to be able to access this. You don't want to bury this in the wall somewhere. And you're going to need some room around it. So 15 inches above it is ideal. And then 12 inches on either side. And then obviously the height, you're going to have it off the floor. But you just want to keep this out of reach of children. You don't want them messing around with this. But as you can see, really nothing really to it. It's just a matter of connecting all your wires. Now, that is one thing that I was a little bit surprised by. When you get into these bigger units, like the 18 kilowatt and the 27 kilowatt, you basically need a lot of wire to be able to connect this to. So we needed 2 wires that were 8 gauge thick. So that's pretty expensive wire, and you basically have 2 40 amp breakers to be able to supply the electric for this. So you have to make sure that you have enough room in your electrical panel to substantiate this. If you got the 27 kilowatt, you would need 3 wires and 3 double 40 amp breakers in your electrical box. So pay attention to that, because a lot of situations you're not going to have that kind of room to add this type of device onto it. So let's go ahead and connect some ports onto here. Okay, so we're going to be using PEX. So we're just going to attach these male adapters. Now, if we're doing 3/4 inch trunk line coming in here, and then we're going to actually come out of here 3/4 inch, and then we're going to size down to our shower. So it's a good idea to get as much volume as you can. So let's go ahead and put some Teflon tape on these fittings. It's about 4 to 5 revolutions of Teflon tape, and rotate these clockwise. So when you thread it on, it actually tightens the Teflon tape onto the unit. We're going to use a little bit of pipe sealant on top of the Teflon tape. Okay, so placement of this, really just you want to make sure that you have 15 inches above this. So if we were to finish this drywall or something, just make sure that this sits down below and that we have at least 12 inches to the left and right of this. Now this is going to be like a closet that I'm going to have access to. So you obviously want to be able to serve this and be able to adjust the temperature. So we have a heated tape here because the downstairs is not going to be heated, but this area up here will be. Shut off there for that. We'll get the hot water after we get the wire set up to this. So we'll get the electric connected here too. So we're going to bring them both into this line here. All right, so this is the wire you need, 8-2. So this is really thick stranded wire. And just so you know, this basically costs as much as the actual electric hot water tank. 125-foot roll, I think was around 260 bucks. So it could definitely be pretty costly depending on how far you have to go. Like I said, if you did that 27 kilowatt, you would need 3 wires of this, and then also these 40 amp breakers. So you'll need 40 amp, double 40 amps. So we have 2 of them here that we'll be connecting to, and that's where a lot of electric panels simply don't have the room for it. So keep that in mind when you're looking at doing something like this. Okay, so just gonna find the ground. All right, so we brought them both into a 3/4 inch Romex connector, and then we basically just take the ground to the ground bus. So this is a garage, so we want to make sure that we have the separation of the grounds and the neutrals. So we went onto the ground bus, just find an empty spot, pretty simple, just connect it. And then each side is hot. This is a 240 volt system, so line 1, line 2, line 1, line 2. And you just connect them together. So we have them in the off position. We'll connect it to the actual heater, and then we'll click them on. Okay. So quickly, just brought 2 of these 8-2 wires in. Both the grounds went into the ground connection, and then line 1, line 2. So 3, 4 just has one set, and 1, 2 has the other set. Doesn't really matter which way these are configured, as far as just as long as they're on the same breaker. So 3 and 4 should be one line, 1 and 2 should be the other. But as far as which side goes at which, doesn't matter because they're both power. That is one thing you want to pay attention to here. We have a 240 volt system, so make sure that that is clicked down. If you have a 208 volt supply, then you want to click that up. But we're at 240, so everything's set. Now we can just simply put our cover back on. So then you want to make sure you have the water supply on here before you even turn this on. But we need to make connections for our hot water. right, now we got water. We can go ahead and turn on a hot water tank too. Okay, so we'll go 105. 66 degrees right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, point it over there.
Do you feel it getting warmer?
Yep. All right, so one thing about this instant hot water tank, it depends on how much flow you have. So as I turn the flow down, the hotter this is able to get. You know, I have it set at, what, 111 right now. I could set it higher than that if I wanted to. But the more you turn this up, so I'm getting, I don't know, that's probably 3.5 gallons per minute right there, 4 gallons per minute. It actually goes down. So point it over there, show. You can see the temperature going down to 100 degrees. So I'll just turn it down. So it's maybe like 2 gallons per minute. And you'll see the temperature rise. So that's the real big difference than a regular traditional hot water tank. So if you really want a nice hot shower, you're gonna have to get some flow restriction on your shower head, or just make sure that you turn the water down. Like if I was gonna use this tub, you know, you might even want to just turn this way down so that you can get really nice hot water. It all depends on what's coming into the system, and then, you know, like how warm it is coming into the system. It said 66 degrees starting out. So we're warming 66 degrees to 109 right now. So we can still turn this up a little bit more, but just know that, you know, it's going to take some time to get a really hot bath. You know, the next option is to get up to the next kilowatt hour, get to the 27 kilowatt system, which would have 3 40 amp breakers, and then you'll be able to get a lot more gallons per minute, a lot hotter. But that's pretty awesome. I mean, it's fantastic. I think it's going to work great for this space, you know, just for one tub. You know, like that's a decent warm shower. So what we'll do also is we're going to test this tub. So let's go ahead and fill this thing up and make sure that we're getting make sure that everything's leak free.